What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours nonstop NBA DFS conversation, taking you all the way up to tip-off, all the way up to lock. Crunch time taking over in about an hour and 15 minutes. But myself, Head Chopper, Bobby Gomes, you got us for the next hour and 15, hour 20 or so, talking tonight's NBA DFS slate. As always, whenever we have these slates, a couple games that are late, couple games get chopped off on the DK main slate. So DK slate ends at 8 o'clock. There's a big break. 3 games: Memphis, Lakers, Minnesota, Portland, Phoenix, and Sacramento. They are all on the FanDuel slate. We're going to focus mostly on the DK slate, and then Crunch Time will come in and clean that up, whatever we missed. Talking about who's in and who's out. Got our eyes on a lot of players as well, because I think it's 9 teams. I want to say 9 teams in the back half of a back-to-back after yesterday's Emirates Cup, NBA Cup, in-season tournament stuff. They don't want to have any teams playing on the front end, on the back end in the in-season. So after those games, we're going to have a lot of back-to-back stuff and a lot of injury things as well we'll delve into. Chop, happy Wednesday. How are things in your world? Everything good?
It's going all right. Can't complain. It's Wednesday. Do a little NBA tonight and get ready for the football that kicks off tomorrow. So yeah, it's all right. Can't complain.
Tomorrow is Washington, right? Washington, Philly. There you go.
Oh, okay. And by the way, Dean, oddly enough, and I don't know why they're doing this, there's only one NBA game tomorrow, so you might as well get your NBA fix in tonight, because that's just bizarre.
Because, I think they load up the schedule on Tuesday because of the in-season stuff, and the in-season stuff for the foreseeable future is going to be every Tuesday and every Friday. So, the middle stuff's not going to be happening a lot. And, if teams are playing on not every team, of course, but the slates will be big on Friday and on Tuesday. Hopefully, I looked ahead, actually. I think it's next week or maybe the next week after that, we get a flatter schedule. I do like when we have those 6, 7, 5 game slates. We have not had those all that often this year. But and I kind of like what DK's doing, especially this call tonight. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. Last night it made sense to keep them because the slate wasn't big enough. But we have 8 games to play with and a 2-hour break, which, by the way, shout out to those that if you were patient enough to stick with Robert Williams, man, that paid off handsomely. Just waiting for injury news. It's a good lesson if you're new to NBA DFS. Hold. Sometimes just hold and wait, and sometimes it could just blow up in your face, and so be it. But you get that right. If the player gets ruled out, Ayton, by the way, not playing basketball again tonight as well, the back half of that doubleheader, Minnesota and Portland. But Williams also ruled out because they should have traded him immediately after that game. His trade value is never going to be higher. He was spectacular. But let's bring in Bobby Gomes. How are things? Everything all right? How do you feel about tonight's 8-gamer, 11-gamer, depending on where you're shopping?
It's good. I'm happy they cut off the late games. I love that. I was in bed early last night. I was thinking I wasn't going to cash, and then woke up to them in cash. So it's not the worst thing. It's been a good morning, Dean. Well, it's been a good day in general. I wanted to ask you, have you watched The Penguin? Have you
About 4 episodes in, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, but I'm just behind. I hear it ends strong, but please no spoilers. Have you watched the whole thing? It just finished. I know it just finished. But, I've been watching it and I've been enjoying it, but I watched something. I have for my podcast later tonight, the Pick Six, Rebar and Daigle. We watched the movie called The Substance, which is bonkers. It is wild. Brand new movie with Demi Moore. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. It's like 2.5 hours long. So that's what I watched today and yesterday. I had to chop it in half, but we'll talk about that.
I was a huge fan of Demi Moore when I was a kid. What was that movie?
Ghost?
Striptease. Was that
Striptease? Okay. Yeah. I should have known that was the one. It wasn't G.I. Jane. It wasn't Ghost. It was Striptease that did it for you. Yeah, she was a mega star. She was a mega star back in the day. One of the biggest. She had a moment about 3 or 4 years or so. Of course, the pottery scene there with Patrick Swayze as well. But yeah, we're going to discuss Substance later on. Jared in chat says Substance was awesome. It is certainly something. It is definitely something we're going to talk about. You're not ready for it. I promise you're not ready for that movie. You're not ready for it. Chop 'em get. Have you seen it? You haven't seen it, have you? Nobody has. Just came out.
I have not. No spoilers, Dean. Shit.
It's hard to. I'm just telling you, it's bonkers, and like I can just tell you that, and that's all you need to know. But you a Demi Moore guy back in the day, or even still?
Ooh, back in the day. Oh yeah. No.
Of course.
Now
Chop.
I'm like McConaughey and like, you know what I'm gonna say. She's a little long in the tooth now, but back in the day, for sure. But you know what's weird is that for a while she was like in it with Ashton. What's his name?
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. So he was robbing the cradle with what's her name, and then she was robbing the cradle with him.
I think he's with Mila Kunis now, if I'm not mistaken. I believe
Yeah,
that's.
but he was with her like when she was like 15, 16.
No, that was that was a TV show. That was the 70s show.
No, that was real life. They were in real life. He was aggressively pursuing her in real life.
Oh,
You gotta look this stuff up, man. But just weird how that went full circle like that. But yeah, Demi Moore was good back in the day.
It's better than good.
Yeah, she was excellent back in the day.
Very easy on the eyes, for sure.
Anything big picture as far as the slate tonight? We should kind of dive in. I think there's a pile of value, ton of value out there. Of course, some stars you want to spend up as well. We're not sure about Ryan Rollins, but he's still 3K on DK. He got hurt last night. Drew the start for Milwaukee. Of course, Lillard is still out for Milwaukee. Still no Middleton. They have, there's other cheapies we can discuss, but we'll see if he plays. He doesn't play, but if you don't have him, there's still some. It's Malik Beasley night. I can't believe it's 2024 and Malik Beasley, not just like fantasy relevant, but it's going to be super popular. It's just the runway is clear for him. Detroit, one of those teams playing the back half, go back to back. No Fontecchio, no Ivy. They're pretty thin. It's another revenge game for him. He had a revenge game last night versus Miami. He hit that free throw with 1 second to go because Eric Spoelstra, the greatest coach in the league, did the dumbest thing you could possibly do. He called timeout. We didn't have one. Otherwise, we'd have had a double overtime or triple overtime for Miami and Detroit. But, Malik Beasley, I cannot believe he's relevant, and I genuinely like him today too. But I'm kind of bummed he's going to be popular, but that's kind of where we're at. Chop, anything big picture you want to point out as far as some things you're monitoring? Jalen Brunson is questionable as far as injuries that are up in the air. Mitchell Rollins currently questionable. FEV, Freddie Van Vliet, is questionable too. We saw Amen Thompson get loose last time, especially from a stock perspective when he didn't go. Any of these big injuries you have your eye on? Is anything broke during the show? I'll pull up and see if anything has hit that I might have missed.
No, I mean, I did some player props this morning because I kind of thought Jalen Brunson might be ruled out today at some point. So that might bite me. Right? Like I did some Miles McBride, and then he's questionable too. So, but I kind of like I don't know. I don't think Jalen plays tonight. I might be wrong. Don't build your lineups like that because we'll know here pretty soon. But I kind of think that one's going to get ruled out right there. And other than that, I think the big news is already broken. Fred Van Vliet, I would think he plays, but I'm not sure. We can keep our eye on that one. The Ryan Rollins kid looked really good last night, and now he's questionable, so we got to deal with that. I think big picture-wise, as far as this slate on DK, there's nobody that's projected right now over 40%, which is crazy because with the way they break off those last games and they kind of shorten up the slates a little bit, we just get heavy doses of chalk nowadays on DraftKings, and I don't think it's as chalky. I don't think as many people are going to go back to Giannis because last night just uber chalk, man. And like it's tough to call 44 a massive failure, but 44 was a massive failure for Giannis last night. But he's not going to be not nearly as chalky as last night, so I probably feel good about attacking that, to be honest with you. But big picture, I kind of like the way this is shaping up here.
Yeah, producer Steve's telling us if we get 100 likes before the spin the wheel, we're going to spin the wheel about 45 minutes or so. Give or take 6 o'clock on the East Coast. If you're not aware, spin the wheel. What's that? It's Wheel Wednesday. We give away a week free of RotoGrinders Premium, all the bells, all the whistles, everything you can mess around with as far as the articles and our expert rankings and the lineup HQ tool and the optimizer. Too many things to mention. How do you participate? How do you get yourself eligible? Well, you jump in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Most of our Discord channels are free. That, of course, is one of the free ones. Producer Steve has a post. Just go ahead and click that avatar, and you are good to go. Again, about 45 minutes or so, we'll spin that wheel. We got 100 likes, we'll spin it twice. Give away 2 individual weeks. Yeah, the Giannis thing, it's so weird. Life's about expectations, so, and he was not great. Embiid, woof. Embiid, he did not look like he was ready to go. And he had the audacity to say last night, oh, yeah, he did not look good. Yeah, maybe he'll figure it out by the time of the season. He's not playing tonight, and Paul George is not playing as well. So Philly has got a lot of value. Yeah, McCain is really popping. Maybe the Dancing Bear, Yabusele. Drummond's a midday downgrade. He's questionable, especially if he doesn't go and you're playing against Cleveland. Big boys on that side. Jared Allen, I think, is still questionable too. For what it's worth, he's got a leg. He's been terrible the last couple games. That's one to monitor. Bobby, you got anything as far as a big picture before we dive in and do the old game by game?
I think figuring out, like, if you're playing the Giannis flop leg is pretty significant. Like, I think I'm going to overweight Giannis just because I think in the high dollar last night, he was 80% owned. I'm just going to Giannis. If we get him at 25%, I'll go right to him. Ryan Rollins, if he plays, I think at 3K, he's an extreme value. The one I do have a question mark on is Malik Beasley. I know you like him. For me, he'd be the first guy that I went away from.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel more comfortable with the Bucks, and rather than going to like a Pistons shooting guard. I know there are guys out there, but I don't know. I'm not too high on Malik currently.
Yeah, we'll have that conversation. But my thought on it is, I think the path is much more clear for Beasley minutes than it is for what's the dude's name? Rollins, right? He was fine last night. He made a bunch of threes. What if he didn't make those threes? It could have been pretty ugly. I'm not sure he's somebody that's going to close either. They have other wing options. And Giannis it could just be point Giannis there in Milwaukee. And the other point, by the way, talking about Giannis, I like that point you made. Detroit, it makes for an interesting little game stack, right? Because Detroit is pretty concise as well as far as their rotations. One player being Beasley. They have their own 3K guy as well, which we'll talk about it. Holland as we dig in. And, we only have him projected for 28 minutes. I think we haven't projected the close, but because, again, Detroit is really thin. I think they did call up some of their G League guys, but if you look at their roster, there's not a lot going on there. All right. Let's go ahead. And only one 7:00 game. So one of my general thoughts, I like if I can get away with not playing somebody at 7, if there's news we're waiting for, or if I just did like a tiebreaker. If I need a tiebreaker, I'll play this guy at 7:00. I'll play this guy at 8:00. As a default tiebreaker, I'll play the 8:00 guy, right? Just in case you get some news shuffling your way. But there are some playable plays here, of course. Indiana, Orlando, 224.5. It's a total. Orlando is playing the back half of a back-to-back. The minutes did not really get baked up because they were blowing out, shellacking the Hornets. It was ugly. Of course, we know Banchero is still out. Shout out to Banchero. He had his birthday last night, just 22, I believe. So, yeah, he's so good. He's just 22 years old. Wendell Carter, of course, is still out. Indiana, Nembhard not available. Naismith not available. Obi Toppin, he's got an ankle, so he's questionable. So, there's a chance if he doesn't go, like Miles Turner, his minutes can be pushed. It's a Gogo Batadze revenge game. Stunk last night. The other part of it was like the second unit was really good, so they kept the second unit out there long, and Batadze had his minutes cut short in the first half, and the second half was a blowout, so his minutes really stunk. Shout out to me, Bobby. I min-cashed with Giannis and Gogo Batadze in the same team. How did that happen?
Yeah. I don't know. You got there,
Steph Curry. Steph got me there.
Seth Curry.
Pretty good.
Steph Curry. Yeah, he's good. He's pretty good at the basketball stuff. He got you the 64, right? That was what I had Steph Curry too last night.
Something like that. Yeah, it was fun. He scored like the last 10 points or so for Golden State. We got old school Draymond, fun atmosphere in like the sailor caps they had. It was the video. I don't know if you watched the video for Clay. It was really well done out there. Good job.
I was fast asleep, Dean.
You didn't catch the highlights anywhere? It's worth check out the 2-minute video. I think it's worth watching. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, your assessment as far as the Magic and the Pacers at 7 o'clock. What do you got, Bobby?
Yeah, Franz, like we seen last night, he crushed. His last matchup versus in the Indiana Pacers, he was fantastic. Went for 46 DK points. Minutes have been up, usage has been up, especially with Banchero out. So I think he's firmly in play. Benedict Mathurin is another guy who's getting a good boatload of minutes now that Aaron Nesmith's injured and you're taking out. Yeah, basically he's in a situation where he's going to get KCP defense, but I don't know. I kind of like Benedict Mathurin in the mid tier. He's been playing well. Tyrese Halliburton's always tough, but I think you can consider him at 8,100. I don't love it, but he's Tyrese Halliburton, and it should be a pretty good matchup versus Jalen Suggs. So I'm fine with it. That's really the majority from this game, not going to Goga, not chasing. I don't know. They got Mo Wagner more involved last night. I think I prefer Moritz more to Goga currently. I know Goga was on a tier prior to last night, but
yeah, the second unit was just crushing, and Mo was part of it. And they just they kept him out there longer. Is sort of what happened. I'm not saying that's not going to happen tonight. It could flip once again, but that sort of explains why. If you're looking at the minutes, like Mo was playing great. By the way, how cool is it? He gets to play with his brother. We don't talk about it enough. We've seen it with the Lopez brothers before too. Just a cool little side note.
How good is Franz? Like Franz is legit. That was
a good basketball player.
Very good run back last night. If you went LaMelo and then went to Franz instead of Goga.
Charlotte put LaMelo back in the game, like down 30 with 6 minutes to go, which is just like what? I don't know why they did that. I'm not sure if they were thinking about like point differential for the play-in stuff or maybe season tournament. Like, I don't know what it was, but
I think that's what might have been their thought process. I was wondering if that was going to happen earlier in this tournament than it did last year.
Yeah, but like, what kind of pipe dream do they have? I mean, I guess they can't pretend like they don't have a chance, but they don't have a chance. Yeah, they were also without Man, so they're kind of thin, but still, it was a sort of odd that they brought him back in. I was really surprised. Chop, what do you have as far as the Pacers and the Magic?
Yeah, anytime a team's facing Indiana, they get my attention. So I'll be overweight on Franz. I like him. He's just a good player and still a very affordable salary right now. And so overweight on Franz. The rest of the guys on Orlando, they're Gogo's okay. Mo Wagner's all right, and Jalen Suggs could always break out. Like he's that guy. He's been very good this year. And so they're all in my player pool. On the flip side, you want to talk about who's been very good this year? Benedict Mathurin been very good this year. Watch out, he's taking a ton of shot attempts, man. And that's right up his wheelhouse for his game. Getting a lot of field goal attempts. So I'm going to be overweight on Mathurin. Probably some Miles Turner too. And then it falls off for me. Halliburton's good, but I don't know how much I'm going to have here tonight. Siakam's good, but not sure how much I'm going to have against. Orlando is kind of a tricky matchup to go against, but definitely like me some in this game. Franz 1, Benedict 2, and I like that combination in tournaments running it back against each other.
Yeah, Turner, I was thinking about not playing. I don't really love the matchup here, and he's going to be pretty popular too, as far as I can tell. We'll see if things change or not, but let me give it a refresh where we're at as far as ownership stuff. Last I saw, yeah, we have Miles Turner on DK at 26%, which, yeah, I mean, we also have 34 minutes, which we haven't really seen that so much until this year, where they've added some more. Obviously, they lost some of their bigs, and they might lose Obi as well. Toppin is officially questionable, projected for 20 minutes. Magic official lineup here: Suggs, KCP, Da Silva, Franz Wagner, Bataze. Yusuf Nurkic is off the injury report tonight for Phoenix. I mentioned Drummond is questionable. Bradley Beal is questionable too with his calf for Phoenix. He got pulled last night, did not come back. I think it was his calf, yeah. And so my guess is he doesn't play, but we'll see. That's FanDuel only. Grayson Allen also has a hamstring. He's questionable too. So Phoenix could be well, they're getting Nurkic back, but they can be a bit of a mess as far as their wings. Chop, you making a bunch of lineups tonight, or just one, or how many have you figured it out just yet? I'm trying to figure if
a whole bunch.
Okay. if you're making one, can we miss the first game? Is sort of what I'm asking. I'm trying to figure that out.
That's a tough one. Like it's a whole different mindset to sit down and just build one lineup. Like it's a whole different research, an entirely different research. And so I would probably want to find a way to get Franz in my lineup. Not only is he just that good in general, his matchup should be pretty good for him too, and then all the surrounding stuff like the absences in their lineup that are going to present more opportunity for him. So does it feel good to sit back and not have to worry about it at 6? Sure, feels good, man. But it's Franz, man, and you could be staring up at a 55-point game out of him and not feel good about it when he's probably going to do pretty well tonight. So I don't know about the full fade.
Bobby, you only had a couple lineups last night, right? Or
only one team. Only one team. Yep.
Is that the same approach tonight or no?
I'm going back to it. Yeah, putting one in the high dollar.
Yeah, I like Wagner too, plenty. I don't know. I'm just trying to think how much do I need anybody in this game? Like I must have. I don't know. Just sort of debating that back and forth. And part of it might be what kind of information we have at 6:55 East Coast, right? So if I'm waiting, if some real news can drop.
Counterpoint though, Dean.
Yeah.
You've only got a 1 out. Like you've got this one game, then you got the 6:30 games. You've only got a 30-minute window, and the slate's over after that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're waiting till 9 o'clock for the Portland news to drop or something like that. I think you'll have a pretty good idea. You'll have a fairly good idea about the DraftKings slate by the time this Indiana game tips off. So you'll kind of know about the injuries. Anything can happen late, but there's not this big, massive window of time to where, man, if I fade that first one, boy, things could really fall my way 2 hours from now. Like
Rollins, 8 o'clock, questionable. I want the Detroit starting
Rollins,
lineup.
But what is like? I think when I think
I want to
about
know Yabusele starting. I think he's going to start, but I want to see him starting.
But I don't know that all that. In fact, I think any of that stuff helps in the roster of Franz. Like later, you roster him now, you spend that money. It's not like I'm taking up my value spot with I'm gonna play Cole Anthony, man, because whatever. I'm gonna lock up a spot with Cole.
Doing that.
And you're playing a high dollar guy with a massive projection, so it's only going to help later if those smaller guys are ruled out. That's just me. I don't know. It's 1 hour. It's a 1 hour gap. I think that I'm more likely to fade the first game if it's a 3 hour gap, like it used to be on DraftKings. Now that they've cut it down, I don't think the first game fade is all that big of a factor anymore.
All right, fair. Or you could just put Franz Wagner in there and just put a dummy lineup around it, just backload a bunch of that you can do.
That's not what you do. That's what I do.
I'll do that sometimes. Yeah, if I absolutely feel like I must play this player, and I might land on him. We'll see. But
you know what, Dean? Speaking of which, we got in chat, Carolina guy. He loves him a little FanDuel. He says favorite FanDuel play large field. Now this might not be my favorite play, but this is the game we're on, and I talked about Miles Turner on FanDuel. Miles Turner, I can't imagine Miles Turner gathers like any owner. I haven't looked at the FanDuel ownership yet, but Klingen's going to be like the most popular guy over there. He was a late addition last night because we didn't get the Aiden news till late, and he was still massively owned in the turn. So Klingen's going to take up a lot of the center spot.
He's so handsy. He's a big boy. He's handsy, man.
He's got a good DFS skill set, though, especially for FanDuel. I get it, man. I get it. But I'm just saying for large field Carolina guy, Miles Turner's a really good player, and he'll get no ownership on FanDuel tonight because of Klingen. So that might be your guy.
I'll just add this as far as Klingen. We were projecting for 24 minutes. Not even foul trouble. I don't know if he can play much more in 24 minutes. He's a big dude. I don't know if you've watched this guy play. He's a load. I don't know if he can play for 28 minutes.
He's tall.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, he's girthy too. He's broad.
He's put on some muscle in the NBA. He's got a good game to him though for fantasy.
You watched him in college, I guess. You're saying he had some weight. Yeah.
UConn. Oh yeah, he was a string bean when he came in. He only played 2 years at UConn. He's a lot bigger now, but he's always had that reach, that height, that length. So he's going to be a solid defensive player.
Yeah, he looks like a good shot blocker. Boston and Brooklyn, 218.5 is a total. Boston, just a disaster of a game yesterday, losing to Atlanta despite being, 16-point favorites versus the Hawks. No Trae Young. They're probably better without him. So Brooklyn is a, 7-8 point dog here at home. Al Horford cannot play back-to-backs, so he's not playing tonight for Boston. Who else is out? That's it. That's, Porzingis is on the injury report, but that's going to be the case for months. DFS officially questionable. Dorian Finney-Smith. Ben Simmons questionable with a calf. This is an island game, but I think it's a different injury for him. Daron Sharp, of course, he's unavailable. He's been unavailable. Bobby, your Celtics taking on Brooklyn. We're expecting Keita to draw the start as one of the cheap center options. Certainly an opportunity cost there as well. But otherwise, pretty standard as far as your expectations for the Boston rotation, with Horford being out, Pritchard being the sixth man, and then Brooklyn. Where are you at as far as the Celtics and Brooklyn?
Yeah, if DFS sits, I think it puts Tatum in a good low-owned tournament, like him being the stud. Just you're removing that defense. It's a game where they lost last night. I think you might see a situation where Tatum comes out and is vengeful, I would say. So don't mind Tatum. He'd probably be my favorite between him and Jalen. I know Jalen had a phenomenal night last night. Keita, I don't know how much Keita I'm currently going to have, but he is a good play, especially with Horford not playing on the back-to-back. He's fine. Derek White, can always play Derek White, 7,300. There's not much I love from this game, though. Maybe on the other Brooklyn side, Cam Thomas. I don't think I'm going to get to too much of this game, however.
It's not one of my favorites either. Ownership-wise, we're seeing Claxton getting around 10 or 11. I think he's fine. Cam Thomas getting around 10 or 11. No Boston guy getting the double digits. Tatum at 9. I do agree. He's an interesting tournament play for sure. Back half of back-to-back. Keita should be okay, but I don't think he makes you or breaks you. Probably going to play about 24 minutes or so. There's Cornette lurking as well. Chop, you like this game? I feel like this is kind of a catch-me-up, unless you feel otherwise. You feel strongly about Boston and Brooklyn?
Now, if this was the 6 o'clock game on an island, you could definitely fade the heck out of it. But yeah, I'm not going to get to very much at all at it. Like, I'm running like 150 on DraftKings, so it's hard to say never about everybody in a game. But I don't feel like I'm going to get too much of this game with Boston relatively healthy, because Al Horford doesn't move the needle anymore, really. Yeah, I can't go with that at those prices. And Brooklyn against Boston, not good. Boston's probably going to be in a pretty perturbed mood after getting waxed last night by Atlanta. Jalen Johnson, by the way, what a good draft pick, man. Give it up to the guys who spot that kind of talent out of that top 5 like that, or whatever it is. But yeah, so I don't really need to mess with this game.
Yeah, and what about shouting out Dyson Daniels, right? He's looking spectacular too.
He's good.
4 steals every single game, basically. I made a snarky tweet about New Orleans could really use Dyson Daniels right now.
Is New Orleans just completely cooked this year?
Right now they are. I don't know, even if they're a full, what is it, 6 of their best. Their best 6 players, or 6 of their top 8 players are probably hurt, right? With Ingram and Murphy now back, essentially. And Zion, it always seems like there's an issue with Zion, even when he's quote unquote healthy. There's been rumors about him leaving or wanting out for a while. Wasn't there like that secret video of somebody recording him talking about, I'll be out of here with Chicago? I can't remember who it was. You know what I'm talking about, Chop? I see you nodding.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, I saw some odds today on where Zion odds on his next team.
Yeah,
I was not excited to see the Rockets as the number 2 favorite to land Zion in a trade.
You don't want that. You don't want Zion.
He's just always hurt. He can't keep his weight down. I fear he can't keep his weight down. That hurts his game. That hurts the injury thing. And
it's called Ozempic.
And if you think, apparently he doesn't know what that is. And if you think you got good food in New Orleans, man, this guy will be robust in Houston.
Yeah. I'm not here to weight shame anybody, but he's endorsing Mountain Dew. Like maybe they should have picked
Just
somebody
straight
else.
poison. That's poison to your body.
Why did they pick Zion
So
to do
bad.
that? Just like that just seemed to be a strange person to pick, but okay. Yeah, we'll get to New Orleans soon enough. They're on the slate. We'll talk about it, and there's potentially some value there, or they might just get absolutely hammered because they're facing OKC. OKC is the best defensive team in basketball, and New Orleans is the worst. And they're like, 16-point dogs there. So there you go. Producer Steve is on one today with it. What was the other GIF? I couldn't quite figure out what that was. Just a person screaming. I couldn't figure out the context of it, but let me know in chat what that was.
It was just a person screaming, but it happened to be on the scoreboard Nets versus Boston.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Oh,
Okay.
It was fitting.
The deep cut. It didn't quite connect for me. All right. So we're done. Boston and Brooklyn. Bad news. PepsiCo. PepsiCo out as a sponsor. Unfortunately, Ozempic still in play. Bobby, call your guy. We can make something happen. I suppose. I don't know if you know somebody who knows somebody, but there you go. We're happy to do that read if necessary. I suppose. Let's move on. More 7:30 games. Next one up is the Bulls and New York. 230.5 is the total. Speaking of teams we love picking on Chicago. They play super fast. They're really, really vulnerable inside. I think they're number one or number two as far as yielding points in the paint. New York has that super tight rotation. I know they played 9 last night, but not really. Like they did, but not really. You know, the 7th, 8th, 9th guy barely play. Who did they dust off? The former Laker. Matt Ryan, also a quarterback at one time as well. But we got him projected for 8 minutes, Kolak for 2. It might change. McBride is questionable. Campaign's questionable. The big one, of course, Chop kind of alluded to it. Brunson, he's questionable. And he's a tough dude, Chop, but those ankles, they swell up overnight sometimes. That was your thought process, right? It's just going to be worse the next day. I'll see. That's kind of the thing. What if we don't know if Brunson's playing at 6:55? And if he doesn't play, all of a sudden, and McBride's in, he plays 37.
Oh, you mean 5:55?
East Coast.
Yeah.
East Coast time is the standard time. It's up to you in the Central.
Why?
You got to do the math.
Why?
It's on you.
Why? That's so Central.
It just is. East Coast bias.
You got a West Coast, you got an East Coast. Let's just split it down the middle and go Central. Like that.
Nobody speaks in Central time.
They need
Bobby,
to
settle, Bobby. Nobody speaks in Central time. It's like
nobody. It's East Coast standard, right? For a reason.
Can we set up a poll? Maybe producer Steve can settle for the people. I don't know, but it's Central. If you're in Central time, then sure. So if your neighbor asks what time it is, I don't know what they would ask that. They probably have a phone or something. But then you tell them what time it is in that specific area. But if you're having a conversation with somebody else, it's a default. It's a default, Chop. New York and Chicago. What do you got, Chopper?
So the Chicago Bulls side is not all that interesting. I think assuming that the projected guys are in like we think right now, Levine would probably be my favorite play over there. He's only $6,800 on DraftKings. That's a pretty fantastic price considering when he started the year. Like he was playing really well, and the injury kind of set him back. But I think it's a pretty good matchup for him these days. It's just crazy how New York has changed their entire identity, and they're not a defensive juggernaut anymore. Now they're very lackadaisical on defense. So Zach LaVine would be my favorite over there. You could get to some Josh Giddey because he does a lot of stuff in the stat sheet on DFS, and that's fine. On the flip side, it's Karl Anthony Towns game here, with or without Jalen Brunson. Probably a big Karl Anthony Towns game for me. That'd be my most popular play. And of course, if Brunson were to be ruled out, then we'd have to wait and see what his status was. And if he was in, McBride would be a great play. If he was out, then it'd be chaos. I don't even cross that bridge because that's a lot of what ifs. But Karl Anthony Towns, Josh Hart. Josh Hart should thrive in a game environment like this, the way his game is set up to really prosper in the weirdness of it, up and down pace and hustle stats and all that other stuff. So Josh Hart. And then the two wings, I just never really get to OG or Mikal Bridges. They just don't really do enough
so much
on a nightly basis. assuming everybody's healthy. Now, maybe this definitely changes if you lose Brunson's 20 shot attempts. Maybe I'll go to him. But if Brunson's in, Cat's in, everybody's in, I don't think they do enough scoring. I just never get to him at this price tag. So, but Karl Anthony Towns is my big takeaway from this game. I'm going to have well over the field on him for sure.
He is my favorite play on New York as well. I mentioned Chicago, most vulnerable team inside as far as the paint. He scores 45.7% of his points in the paint. He also can step out into three. He's fourth most as far as centers driving to the basket as well. Feel really good about him. Bobby, Chicago, New York. And again, we're kind of in that holding pattern. If Brunson doesn't go, I assume he does because he generally does. But if he doesn't, we all of a sudden can get to McBride at 4-3. His minutes will probably jump up like 33, 34, 35. I would assume he would start as well. And who knows about campaign either. But what can you tell us as of right now, Bobby, best we can do?
With Brunson in, I'd probably be under the field on Towns for what it's worth if he's going to gain so much ownership. I like the call Chop made on Josh Hart in the game environment. He's coming off a triple-double. I think he's in a really good spot. And I think that also kind of correlates to Mikal Bridges, the same, like his game thrives in this particular type of game environment. So I don't mind if Brunson was out getting to more Bridges than what I have currently. If Brunson's in, I'm probably with Chopper, like not going to play much Bridges. Miles McBride would shoot up if Brunson's out, like you guys kind of hit on. That's mainly where I'm going. I guess Zach LaVine at 6,800 would be my favorite bull. But not much on the bull side, more geared towards these New York Knicks.
Yeah, New York, the slowest team as far as pace. I don't love the Bulls either, one of my least favorite teams on this slate, and they are healthy, so not a lot of value there either. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about, well, speaking of potential value, at least a team that's fully depleted, the value is mostly adjusted to their situation. But yeah, New Orleans, we alluded to this one in OKC. They are, 15-point dogs. OKC, best defense in basketball. New Orleans is the worst. New Orleans also getting gashed in the middle as far as the paint, second most paint points. Their injury report, we lost Alvarado, Grand Theft Alvarado. Chop knows who he is. He gets that nickname. He's out for 6 months or so with a hammy. No Jordan Hawkins, no Herb Jones, no McCollum, no DeJounte, no Zion. The only injury, we have other injuries for OKC. Chet obviously out for a while, but they lost another center. Alex Caruso is out with a hip. I don't know if you guys saw Alex Caruso playing center against Zubac, but that was pretty fun. They just don't have a lot of bigs there in OKC, and Caruso was up to the task. It was pretty fun watching him front and fight Zubac for a while. So what are we doing here, Bobby? SGA looks amazing. I was writing about this earlier today, and it's one of those, and we do this in football sometimes too, and you might do it for the Lions this week. The Lions have a 30-point team total. It's like, but they're just going to destroy this team. And I think they're playing against the Jags and Mac Jones, talking football later on tonight. But, OKC might get there in 3 quarters. What if New Orleans actually keeps this game close? Like, what if they're actually making their shots? But on paper, SGA looks amazing. Jalen Williams looks spectacular as well. By the way, DK, Jalen Williams, center only? Come on. What are we doing here? I understand he's playing some center now. But give us some versatility. Give us some flexibility here with Jalen. Bobby, jump in here. OKC, New Orleans. I don't know how much value is left on the New Orleans side. Everything's kind of pumped up. Boston's going to play a bunch. Jalen Noel is one of the cheapies that we're looking at that's hitting some stuff. If this game is close, I imagine Brandon Ingram probably is having a big game. We've seen Messi have a ceiling, get loose as far as boards and blocks, but he's been all over the place. Bobby, Pels and Thunder.
I ran our Sims before the show, and Jalen Noel was popping a good bit. I'm fine with Jalen Noel at the price tag. Like, we have a ton of value on the slate. I don't mind getting to him. The Shea thing, I think the minutes are going to be capped, especially because I do see this game blowing out. We're not in the business of predicting bloods. Shea could get it done in 3 quarters. Chet's out. He's averaging 1.66 points per minute with Chet off the court. So he's a good play. He's price tag's 10.6 though for me. So if we're getting him low owned, I think he's a fine tournament flyer. I I do worry about the minutes cap currently, though. I feel like it would be tough for him to compete with guys in that salary range, especially if he's not going to see a full 4 quarters. That's pretty much the main guys that I have interest in, I guess. Can always play Dort. Aaron Wiggins is going to pop for people at 4,600. Nothing standing out too much outside of Jalen Noel and Shea, though, for me.
I love the other interesting, Bobby, was as far as SGA, and like we have around 20% or so. But I've heard people talk about that. I heard you talk about this before. Just kind of flipping the build, right? Like the current build is telling you you're supposed to punt with point guards, right? You punt with Rollins, you punt with Jalen Noel, right? What if you spend up a point guard on SGA? Okay, DFS officially ruled out for Brooklyn. I don't know how much that changes. I was just going to ask, well, Ben Simmons out too. Okay. We'll see how the projections change for that. That is, I guess that's of note. Oh, you know what it is? It's we're going to have probably Zaire Williams jump into the starting lineup. He played pretty well. He did get pumped up a little bit as far as his price, 4.4 on FanDuel. I think he's a little bit less on DK. 3.9 on DK. So he might be usable, maybe. He'll not the worst play. I imagine he will start now. And Bobby, you talked about the defensive DFS will be missed as well for Brooklyn. Okay. Back to New Orleans and OKC, Chop. It kind of feels like not an all or nothing, but like we had this last night. If you're playing Jalen Johnson tonight, playing that version of Jalen Johnson as Brandon Ingram, I'm not saying they're the same player, but essentially the same concept. Massive dog. We saw Jalen go nuts. You're probably supposed to run it back with somebody on OKC. I wouldn't play Ingram just by himself. Feel free to speak on that and just your thoughts as far as New Orleans, OKC in general.
Oh, man. First of all, Dean, I would also like to give a shout out to Butthole Jenkins in chat. And I don't know if you know this, Dean, but when I think of Butthole Jenkins, I think of Eastbound and Down, plum, feel it in your plums. I feel it in my plums. It is the 15th anniversary of the Feel It in Your Plums, Dean. Did you know that? Is it? 15th anniversary of the
Will Ferrell,
Plums.
right? It was Will Ferrell character?
Correct. And so
Ashton, what's the name of the car place? You're gonna bring it up. You gotta know all the goods. You gotta know.
I mean, it's been 15 years, Dan. I can't remember everything.
Ashley Schaefer.
There you go, Ashley Schaefer. There you go. Yeah, and the outtakes from that are very funny. The outtakes,
spectacular.
But as far as this game's concerned, yeah, I was on Noel, but the whole Brooklyn thing I might be a little bit lesser on Noel now because there's a lot of value on Brooklyn and you can go that route. Aaron Wiggins, pretty decent salary in play here. I prefer him definitely over Lou Dort by a pretty wide margin.
Which I guess is alarm worthy. That we're getting the air horn. I'm telling you, boys, it's the dancing bear. It's Yabusele. He's gonna get a lot of run.
Drummond is out.
He's not. He had the fish. He's not feeling particularly well.
Okay.
He's ill. You laughed at me when I said Yabusele before. At least I thought you laughed at me.
No,
a smirch of some sort. But
no.
You gave
He
me
dunked on LeBron. He dunked on LeBron.
Yeah, man, they don't have.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
He was great in the Olympics. He played for Boston like 7 years ago, Bobby. You remember this? I think that's where he got the nickname. I'm pretty sure that's where it came. But that's gonna. I was wondering if he was going to start or not. If they would start those two guys alongside of each other. But we'll discuss that when we get there. But
there's lots of value now. Yeah, there's lots of value out there now. So it kind of renders some of these value plays in this game a little moot, I think. But Jalen Williams is fine. SGA, I think, is fantastic in a vacuum. I don't know. As far as spinning up, there's enough value now. You could probably spin up on SGA and another guy if you want to. And so you can do that route. But I would say, Dean, just off the radar, GPP, if we're going to run a really small lineup for OKC out there with Jalen Williams playing the center and all this, maybe Yves Missy's pretty solid DFS contributor if he's going to get some run in this game. And he could get run in this game, especially if it's a blowout. Like, that's just a GPP. thought.
You think he can start and mop? He can do both. He's one of those guys. Possibly.
They're short on bodies, and he's a rookie.
They have Tice, but they know what Tice is.
I mean, come on, man. Daniel Tice that's not your future. This guy legit could be a starter in the NBA, and I don't think you mind seeing what you kind of got out of him. And he's definitely not one of those guys who's going to go out there on the court and stand in the corner and you're just struggling to get points. If he's going to get minutes, he's going to start racking up points because he's got that kind of a game. So I just think that's a GPP flyer at 1%. Nobody will play him.
Murphy probably still not getting enough minutes. Where are we projecting him? Probably still like high 20s or something like that. They really can use him, but I don't know how much they want to. They can't have him re-aggravate. 27 minutes, which is just not enough, I don't think. Unless I hear something. I think they're still kind of ramping up for Murphy. Okay, let's move on. Next game is Cleveland and Philly. We just got, let's knock this one out. Cleveland and Philly, 218 is the total. Philly is an 11-point home dog. Cleveland, one of the best teams in basketball, one of the only undefeated team in basketball. We mentioned no PG-13, no Embiid, no Drummond. That means McCain probably starts and Yabusele jumps up to the 5, maybe, or KJ Martin starts. No, well, I don't. Yeah, we're currently projecting Lowry, Oubre, Caleb Martin, Yabusele. Well, Drummond, he's going to get the boot. Man, we're projecting McCain to jump in there. He's been really, really good. The rookie, he was already looking good. And he's probably also one of those guys that, even if the game gets ugly, probably sticks around and mops for the most part, because what are you going to do? You're going to play Eric Gordon? What's the point? Reggie Jackson might. Ricky Council, the 4th. Don't know about Jared Allen. He's currently questionable. You got to feel pretty good about Mobley as is, but even better if Allen is out. Mitchell is awesome, just going to cost you. Bobby, your assessment as far as Cleveland and Philly. I want to see what our Yabusele projection is. I don't know if they're going to put it up soon, if not already. They're probably ready for this. But, Bobby, what do you got? Philadelphia, big dogs now versus the last undefeated team in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think Jared McCain is very good chalk at 4,500. His minutes are very safe, 30 minutes in the last 3. He's going to shoot a ton. He's definitely not shy to shoot. I think he has like around 18 shots in the last 3 games. This works for me, especially at 4,500. So I don't really mind going to McCain. Yabu, I'm fine going to him as well at 4,300. Think he's a good play. I don't have anyone who's big, and Cleveland's big, so he's going to have to see minutes, probably see minutes even in a blowout. So fine with him as well. On the Cleveland side, Evan Mobley, 7,800. I think that's a good price for him, and could always play Mitchell at 8,300. I would imagine he's going to be very low owned though on the slate.
What do you got, Chop?
Well, first of all, Dean, I would say I'm gonna do a hot take here. I think one of these Cleveland, if not 2 of them, end up not playing tonight. That's just maybe I might be wrong. Maybe I'm in a situation, but Philly's down so many bodies now. I don't think Cleveland feels like they have to press their guys at all. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a Donovan Mitchell or anybody in that starting lineup that has any kind of lingering injury end up getting scratched before the game. So that's just –
it is an island game for what it's worth. Didn't play yesterday, not playing tomorrow. But I think Allen's the one that makes sense. And he can kind of use a day off just because he's been terrible too, even if he's not hurt.
So, that's just that thought on that. But just the way the game shapes up now, I don't think I want any Cleveland starters because I just don't think they're pressed in this game to do anything. So I'm probably out on the Cleveland side of it. And for Philly, I hate to do this because I absolutely, respectfully, I just can't stand their fan base, Philly fan base in general. I gotta give them props though. They really nailed the Jared McCain pick. It's hard to find those kind of players once you get to a certain point in the NBA draft in the first round. And I think this guy's a really good player. And so, I'm on the Jared McCain train. He's looked good in his time here as a rookie, and I think he's in for a pretty big night tonight. And like you said, a lack of bodies, and he's a rookie, and they'll run him out there in the 4th quarter, even if this is the 30-point game. So I like some Jared McCain tonight.
I assume you watched him in college. You liked him in college?
A little bit in college. He only played for 1 year sparingly, so you didn't get a great read on him, but he looks good. He looks good.
Derek is telling us in chat that Mitchell Spider tweeted, let him know. Whenever he tweets, let him know he plays. Usually that's like something we look for, like when he's questionable, but I assume that means he's going to play. That's the big Cleveland, rallying cry. Yeah, they're getting no respect from me. I still won't say they're the best team in basketball. I said they're like the third best team, and somebody got mad at me. A Cleveland fan, I presume, got angry, like I was taking shots. It's like, well, I mean, I still think Boston and OKC are better, and that's that. But Cleveland's third. I think Cleveland's third. Is that not fair, Chop? I think it's fair.
Oh, it's like, well, it just depends on what your criteria is, Dean. If you're telling me the list of who's more likely to win the NBA championship, they're certainly not in the top 2 or 3 there. But if you're like right now, who's the best team right now, just based on record and the eye test, yeah, they look great. But yeah, But I'll say this, Dean, like I don't think there's ever been a more valuable time in the NBA's history for coaching. Like coaching matters so much more today than it ever has before. And this is the product of, right? You get you a good coach. Now you look at the lineup, Dean, and what's wrong with this line? They got two good guards. They got 2 good big men. Like they have the talent to do some things, and now they're being coached the right way. And so they're a good team.
David saying Golden State. Yeah.
I think how are they still relevant?
They're good.
But they are though. Well, they're still relevant. They're overachieving probably, but like when and Clay was not particularly good those last couple of years, Dean. You know that, but
yeah,
you still lose Clay, and it's kind of feels like, well, that's the first shoe that really drops, and now they're really going to crumble down, right? Because Draymond's a shell of what he used to do. His game is kind of outdated for the NBA now. And yeah, here they are. They keep on beating good teams too.
Weird. It is amazing what Draymond got out of his game. Like, speaking of, he's the definitive overachiever because he should not still be in the league. Based upon you have to essentially be a shooter in this league. Otherwise, do some other really special things. Be ridiculously tall. Like Drummond's kind of stuck around for his role, but yeah, Draymond's been great, and he does all the little things. I know people don't like him for a variety of reasons, and he does things to irk other opponents, but that probably has worked out for the betterment of his career as well. All right. By the way, we did get an update as far as projections. I ran some optimal stuff based on the new projections, and let's see. McCain and Yabusele are 2 of my top 3 players hitting my optimal lineups. Man, it's McCain, Yabusele, Holland, Beasley, and 3 studs and another cheapie. You can get 3 studs tonight. Like that's if you want to do that, you can do that. You can get, and we're talking like Giannis, SGA, Cat. Like those are legit. You can get 3 studs tonight on DK. It's not hard to do.
Roth will be so happy.
Yes. Yeah. Roth will be coming on about 15, 20 minutes or so. Neil's chiming in. I think Neil's coming on later, so we'll get his thoughts. But as of right now, he's chiming in. He's a pro central, it seems like. But currently in the poll, by the way, I think we have more people voting in the poll than hitting the like button. Hit that like button because we only have, after the next game, we'll spin the wheel. We'll give you a little bit more time. If we get 100 likes, we'll spin the wheel twice, give away a week free Archie Premium to 2 individuals. But Chop, you're not going to like this. Eastern Conference running away with it as the default time zone. 60%. Central's getting 30. Central's getting 30.
Listen,
Mountain and Pacific.
I knew it was just based on the demographics. It was going to be the choice in the poll, and that's not. I'm not. Yeah, I expect that. I'm just, in my opinion, Central's the best time. Like when we're talking about game times, and
that's a different conversation. Best and default, 2 different conversations.
Best. I would rather be on the West Coast. Right?
Oh, Bobby, no.
On the game time. So
I don't want to have to set my alarm to watch some college football on Saturday morning.
Not in the morning, man.
Goodness gracious.
Some people love that. When I lived in Vegas, it was wild. It was I never really adjusted to that. And you wake up earlier too, like automatically. But all right, let's move on. Let's knock out one more game and then we'll spin the wheel. Get it in before Steve, don't make him scramble at the last second. Hit the avatar in the Discord, RotoGrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel. Make his life easier. One more game, and we'll spin the wheel. It's the Wizards, the Spurs, 224s. The total Spurs are 10-point favorites here. Who's in and who's out as far as this game? Well, Washington's pretty healthy. They're pretty healthy. The only person that's of relevance, I guess, is Malcolm Brogdon. Did you know he was in the Wizards? Did you know that? He is. Not playing basketball tonight, but he's on the team. Trey Jones is out, of course. Sohan is out. Nothing new for San Antonio with the exception of, Branham is still currently questionable, but nothing has changed. Speaking of studs, hey, you can get Wemby. Why not play some Wemby? He should absolutely abuse Alexander Sarr on the other side. Kuzma back last game, I think just 25 or so minutes, so kind of hurting everybody else, and everybody else was kind of a little bit overpriced because their price went up in his absence. How do we feel about the Spurs and the Wiz, Bobby? I think Washington, again, one of the more unappealing teams on this slate.
I think it's between Giannis and Wemby for the two best plays in the slate. I think Wemby is in a phenomenal matchup. DVP-wise, Washington's playing no defense versus centers. Wemby's been on fire, absolutely on fire. I do not mind. We can get to two spends now. I don't know how the builds would look with
You can get to 3, Bobby.
3. Yeah, so you could probably get to Wemby and Giannis in the same build. Yeah, you can.
Easily.
So I don't mind that at all. Wemby would be my favorite. In our sims, Chris Paul's getting a good number in optimal rating. I think that's pretty interesting. Wonder what we currently have for ownership on him. I just want to check quickly. Still on Pelicans OKC for some reason. I don't mind Paul either. Like I could definitely play some Paul. Outside of that, like Stephen Castle at 4,700 looks like someone who I guess I could play, but there's not a ton. Like Jordan Poole, he's had a good start to the season. I don't want to play any Jordan Poole. Kuzma not interested in at 7,200 really. It would mainly be Wemby and Chris Paul for me. Not really in any of these Washington guys, but definitely have some interest in San Antonio.
Yeah, Chop, I knew what was going on. Sean in chat says, I love this so much. I hit the like button twice. I know that it goes away. If you're going to hit the button a lot, if you like hitting the like button for whatever reason, just hit it an odd number of times. That's all. Hit it 17 times. 37 times. Just don't hit it 7. No, wait, that's an odd number. Did not know there would be math.
I need to hit it 8 or 6. Yeah.
8. Get me out of this, Chop. Your thoughts as far as the Spurs and Washington. Are you also, like, you're running a bunch of lineups. Are you getting sprinkling, a dabbling of Washington?
No.
Yes, you can hit it 69 times if you like. That's
no Washington. They're just, they're relatively healthy now, and they're priced up according to that. Like, there's just not much value there. The guys who were value plays a week ago are no longer value plays. Carrington was $3K at one point a couple of weeks ago. He's at 5,800 now. I'm just not getting any of these guys. And just in general, I don't even like the Spurs except for Wemby, who I will be so far overweight on. I might want to I don't even know, man. He's tempting because he's the one guy on this. He's got the most. Like, if you were just going to put odds on who's going to, the odds to score 70 points, fantasy points, he's the runaway leader, right?
It's Giannis still. It's Giannis still, isn't it?
Oh man, after Giannis hasn't been all that impressive this year. If we're being honest,
don't be a victim of the one game.
One game, no. I'm talking about the whole year in general. Let me see what Giannis is doing. Like Wemby he's cracked 70 multiple times this year, and we've talked about him struggling. Giannis
on FanDuel, has he done on DK?
No, DK. Yeah, he's cracked 70. Wemby, 70 on DK multiple times, and we talked about him earlier for like the first 3 weeks of the year, like he was having a bad year. That's how good he is. So, Giannis is fine, but Giannis is also on a back-to-back. Isn't Giannis questionable too? We don't even know what we're going to get out of him.
Probable.
I think he's probable, and they always give him a probable tag.
Well, he's in a bad place right now mentally. He wants out of Milwaukee. He doesn't,
Allegedly, there's people in New York and Miami starting that stuff.
He wants out. You can see it in his body language, Dean. Like
You can see if somebody wants out of a city, but by
yes,
staring
like
at them.
when you just not when
I'm surprised it took this long for him to want
when you've had
Just
enough,
signed
man.
like a long-term deal. A couple.
When
like
you
a
had
year
enough,
ago.
yes, and then everything fell apart. Like he was expecting, man, we're going to be a title contender for the length of my
Well,
contract,
that's true.
and within a year, it's all fell apart. So I just think
And
there's some bad
Thanasis
vibes
is
there.
gone. His brother's gone.
Yep, they ran his brother off. They ran the coaches. They ran the
That was a
coaches off.
mistake.
Like everything. But anyway, but Wemby is like he's so good. And this is the matchup. Like this is a great matchup for him. So I'm overweight on Wemby. Not a whole lot on the rest of this game.
Yeah, it's tough. And Lillard, no defense. The offense kind of comes and goes. A lot of people didn't like that trade last year. Certainly, it led to you can argue it was a 3-team trade, right? That led Holiday into Boston, or is it a trickle down? I don't recall how that happened. Anyways,
yes, and now you got to deal with Doc Rivers at your head coach. Is that really what you want to do, man? Like
he seems like a nice guy, Doc. I like him a guy, but
seems
Does
like,
he? I'm
yeah.
with Bob on this one.
seems
I'm
like
not
a total
fan of
jerk,
Doc.
man.
I heard him on a pod with Bill Simmons. It was a fun conversation. I enjoyed it. And I watched that terrible, I don't know if it was terrible or not, but the FX, who was the guy? Was it Lawrence Fishburne that played him? That was wild. That is nothing. I mean, I'm sure it was all made up, or most of it was made up, but about the Clippers and the owner, that was a disaster. All right. Oh, we should go ahead and spin the wheel. There's 2 games left. 15 minutes till crunch time comes in. I know Roth is in the bullpen coming in soon. Neil's coming in as well. I think it's Kirkwood. I think Kirkdiese is jumping on as well. But let's go ahead and bring in producer Steve. I think we have 100 likes, so let's go ahead and spin the wheel twice and give out 2 individual weeks of RG Premium.
All right, guys, I just got them all in. Let's spin the first one.
Is this a new track?
Yeah, I was trying to change the song.
Wow. Was not prepared.
Carolina guy.
Oh, it's our guy. It's rigged.
Yeah.
It's rigged.
Let's go.
That might be rigged.
We're gonna remove him and shuffle it up and do one more spin because we hit 100.
Yeah, baby.
This track is hilarious. I don't know why.
Double M squared. All right.
Another
I'll
friend
take
of the
you
show,
guys
I
on
believe.
Discord.
All right. Steve, go ahead and hook him up in Discord. Look out for your DMs there in Discord. Steve's going to juice you up in the week free of RG Premium.
He's gonna juice you up.
I think
For a second, I thought that was a genuine pony that he was busting out.
you got to pay the rights for that.
2001?
I mean, I don't think
Genuine
that's
reference?
in the budget to pay genuine. Okay, we got 2 more games coming up, right? Wait, wait, you know what? Did I miscount? I did miscount. We have one more game. Plenty of time. It is the Clippers. It is Chops Rockets. We did not get news on FEV, right? I'm staring at the Twitter right now. Oh, Evan Mobley. Chop, you called this. Look at the chopper. Look at you. Take your victory lap. Mobley was hanging out with Andre Drummond. He's got the fish. He's ill. He's questionable, not officially ruled out. Sam Merrill, one of the fringe guys, ruled out. And then Jared Allen with his leg is a game time decision.
Uh-oh.
Obi Toppin in, by the way, for Indy. Just a heads up there. And Jalen Smith also available. Interesting. So you think that was counterpoint? Cleveland's just like, we don't need any good players tonight.
100%. 100%. That's what's going on right now in the locker room. They're figuring out if they really need who really needs the night off, because there's no way we need everybody to beat this team tonight.
That also makes me like, well, we'll see how it kind of unfolds, but I think it'll make Yabusele's life a little bit easier too if we somehow lose one of or both of. I mean, if Mobley and Allen both go, the minivan might get unleashed. Gorson Yang, possibly.
My buddy, the minivan. My buddy.
Your buddies with the minivan?
Yeah, a friend of a friend. Good guy.
You don't want any follow-up questions. I understand. I didn't know he was 2 degrees of minivan in your life. He's your own personal Kevin Bacon. But okay, yeah, that could be interesting. I saw Ty Jerome by TJ mentioned in chat. Yeah, just kind of keep an eye on Chop, this is why maybe I don't want to tie guys up at 7 o'clock. This is a 7:30 game. There's only one 8 o'clock game. No. We already talked about wait, you know what? I'm getting confused now. Did we skip Detroit, Milwaukee?
We did not go over Detroit, Milwaukee. But but we're at the same time frame though, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. I knew
we got 2 games left.
Yes. Detroit and Milwaukee 2-12. We kind of talked about Giannis.
Oh, we are going Detroit.
Can I find out if Georges is starting?
Well, we don't know because we're not sure about Mobley and Allen. We got to keep. They're both officially questionable right now. Allen, nothing changed. Just the game time. He's had that leg since yesterday.
Bobby's gonna make a call right now.
Oh, can you? Are you that close? Can you give us the inside sources? That'd be amazing, Bobby.
You sent a text. He's gonna text and see what's up.
Shout out to the minivan.
No, not to the minivan. Not to the minivan. To
the guy behind the minivan. Tristan Thompson will also get dusted off too, but I can't imagine playing Tristan Thompson in the year 2024. All right, Detroit, Milwaukee 212 was the total. Speaking of can't imagine playing players in the year 2024, well, Malik Beasley looks really good tonight. Ivy's out for Detroit. They're without Fontecchio as well. Milwaukee, Rollins is officially questionable. He's still just 3K on DK, a little bit more on FanDuel. Chop, moving parts here, right? But we kind of referenced Giannis. And I think Cunningham, again, this is sort of this game stays close. It's probably because Cunningham is doing his thing, or just they're not making shots and we're looking at a 90-92 kind of game. And maybe it's not good overall. But what do you have as far as the Bucks and Detroit?
On the Detroit side, yeah, but Malik Beasley is going to be jumping in some optimals. Well, actually, I'm going to take that back. He's 4,200. There's so much value right now. He might not be anymore. I'm not sure about that. So I'll take that back. But
I'll run some stuff and see what I got.
Man. So Detroit's kind of tough to figure out right now. I think Cade is fine. He's been having a good year. I was into Beasley. I was into Ronald Holland. I was into Marcus Sasser even a little bit. But now, I'm not so sure because there's a lot of value. So maybe I go pivot from those guys, and now I can play some Cade Cunningham because I've got the money to do that if I want to do that. And the rest of that, I'm not playing Tobias or any of those other guys. So it might be a Cade Cunningham night for me, to be honest with you. He's really good. And it's not a bad matchup. On the flip side, Brian Rollins, man, I got to see what's going on because 3K, guys who are just flat out 3K and can get you 20 points, those are really
on this slate though, Chop. I don't want 3K.
I don't know, Dean. I don't know. It's changed. Things have definitely changed.
Yeah,
but what do we want from Ryan Rollins?
When I say 28, when I say 20 points, that's 20 points minimum. Last night, he was in 22 minutes. Put up a 30-plus burger. So he's got that in his game. He's got that in his wheelhouse. So when I say 20 points, that's like a floor for him at 3K. That's pretty good. So even the other guys on the slate with value are, $3,700, $3,800. That might be a big difference. Ryan, just bottom line, we'll see how it plays out. But prior to all this other stuff happening, Ryan Rollins was, if he was healthy and he was going to be in the lineup, he was probably going to be in 60-70% of my lineups. Now I'm not so sure. Giannis, though, I got to have the Giannis bounce back. He cost me last night. What is the thing? What did we do when we chase our losses?
Martingale?
Flop log play. The flop log.
Oh, the Martingale, flop log, whatever it is. Do it. Got to go for it. He's got to come out with I need a 60 burger out of Giannis tonight. It's Detroit. You ought to be able to put it up. He's has cardio for days, so he shouldn't be winded from the back-to-back. He should be okay. They need him. They need to win. Of course, I don't like the body language. I don't like the things that are going on, but we'll figure it out, Giannis. You got to come through. So Giannis is between Giannis and Wemby, it's a real coin flip for me, but they are distance ahead of SGA for my favorite two big spin-ups.
I just want to point out Rollins last night had 5 steals, and he was 4 for 7 from 3. So unless you think he's the greatest steal artist of all time and the greatest three-point artist of all time.
I know we can point to that, but
yeah,
we can also point to the fact that he left the game, didn't come back. So if he's healthy, he's got that. Detroit is not that far off of Toronto in terms of being a bad franchise, like that'll give up those kind of plays to you. So I don't know. $3K, man. That's minimum.
What do you got, Bobby?
Yeah, I like Ryan Rollins. I do. My favorite player from this game, like I think Giannis is pretty much a shoe-in. You just play him. I think Cade is the one you want to get to. I'm going to be overweight to Cade in tournaments, or try to be overweight on my one team. I'm only playing one, so definitely going to have Cade on my team. But if I was playing multiple teams, I'd be overweight to Cade for sure. Yeah, like Rollins, Giannis, Cade, Malik Beasley. If he's still chalk, like I don't think I'm playing any Malik Beasley.
I'm playing some
on my one team.
Maybe I'm a dope.
Playing multiple teams. I'd be under on Malik Beasley for sure. You're playing Beasley, I would imagine, because he's that midline play.
This is what he's waiting for, man. He wants to shoot 20 times. I'm not saying it's going to go in, but the runway is clear, right? Like again, there's not a lot of guys behind him. I assume he starts. I assume he's got a chance like 35 minutes against one of his 7 former teams. I just think that the opportunity is there. I can't promise you he's going to make it, but I feel pretty confident he'll shoot like at least 15 times. Obviously, you don't need to because there's so much value out there, but he will almost definitely. I should say for sure. I don't want to speak in definitives. He'll be at least one of my lineups tonight. We should move on and talk about the last game. It's the Clippers and the Rockets. Again, crunch time coming in here. In a few minutes, you got Neil Orfield, you got Kirkwood, Kirkdiese. We also have Roth. So this is the perfect Raw slate where you can get 3 studs. He's going to be super excited. You can play Wemby and Şengün, Roth, if you're listening. You can play both those guys and surround him with actually some good plays. Speaking of Şengün, he plays for the Rockets, 214s the total. They're 5-point favorites versus the Clippers tonight, Chopper. And we don't know about Freddie. What we need is more value. We might get some more value. Freddie is still questionable. FVV, Freddie VanVleet. Last time we saw Amen Thompson jump in the starting lineup, and just a really good all-around basketball player, spectacular. Easton a little bit more solidified as well. The matchup not as good here against the Clippers, but certainly Ahmed would be interesting. Chop, how are we feeling about your Rockets? A little bit of revenge for James Harden. Where was he at last night? Does anybody have whereabouts of Harden?
Listen, I've spoken, Chad, about Houston talked about Houston having the good food, and Zion wouldn't survive here. Whew. They've also got probably one of the premier strip club scenes in all of the United States. So watch out now.
Harden thrived in Houston.
Exactly. Yeah, he learned how to do it, man. That's part of his game. Like he loves that, so that's fine.
Part of his game.
Yeah, that's his thing. Dean, you didn't hear about those Harden stories? He would get on a plane and go to Vegas. Like he was like Rodman. He would get on a plane and go to Vegas and come back in time for the game. Like he's out.
But you're
there.
implying like it helps him play better, which is
it does. It does. Why not? Anyway, Clippers I'm not getting to because Zubac is priced up. James Harden is priced up. That just doesn't interest me. The Rockets, Fred VanVleet would kind of be interesting news, but then again, the big beneficiary would be Amen Thompson. Amen Thompson's price jumped up almost $1,000 since the last game. So we got that good game, but we got it at 49. If we got the very same game out of 5,800 tonight with some of the other plays that are available now, it wouldn't feel as good. So, Jalen's priced up there. Şengün's priced up. You can play any of those guys. They're fine. Dean, I got something for you, though.
What do you got?
Do you know in the history of the NBA, there has never been a player that's had a 4% steal rate and a 4% block rate in the same season?
Chop's playing Tari Eason.
Tari Eason is on pace to do that. I'm not going to play him as much. Like, he's 5K. I'm not going to play him with everybody healthy, but he's just a really good real-life player. Like, he's really, really good real-life player. He's exceptional.
He's what they wanted Jayshawn Tate to be, right? He's like he's like ceiling Jayshawn Tate.
He's not. What Tate was like a second rounder or something, late first.
But I mean, like the similar kind of game, like inside energy guy, but he's like a better version of him.
No, Tari Eason had big-time credentials coming out of college. Like, I was surprised he fell. I was like, even coming out of college, Dean, he could hit a three-pointer for a bigger guy, and he could draw free throws, and he could hit his free throws. He got a good game, got a good all-around game. But the defense is spectacular when you put him out there with Amen Thompson. That's the future. So, but yeah, I can't play him at 5K probably, but just to drop that 4% and 4%. Nobody's ever done that, and he's got a chance to do it.
Basically, nobody in this game is going to be owned in the double digits. So certainly some tournament stuff here. Şengün around 5, 6, 7, 8%. We'll see what happens with FEV. He's currently projected for 10%, but again, obviously, if he's not playing, that's probably going to go down. Bobby, Clippers, Houston. I think one of the least exciting games in this slate. You said you're playing one lineup. You probably don't have anybody in this game. You tell me
I'm
otherwise.
probably not playing anyone in this game. I will say I like the Tari Eason call, even at 5K. You're going to get a lot of 4-6, 4-7 values that you fall on, and maybe Eason's a pretty good pivot at lower ownership. He definitely has a ceiling, like Chop said.
Freddie in, by the way.
FEV in, yeah, so they're fully healthy. Harden, are we going with the strip club narrative? That would be your reason to play him. Revenge. I play some Harden, I guess.
You know, Bobby and Dean. I have somebody sent me some videos on text from last night. The same thing that they did to Clay in Golden State as he came into the corridor for his walk. That's what the strip clubs were doing for James last night. They had their sailors caps on and
not for long,
giving him the round of applause and everything.
What about Şengün? No one's going to play Şengün, right?
No, and you certainly can.
No, you certainly can.
Yeah. Chop, you're running 150. You getting 5%, 10% Şengün, 15, about even with the field?
Man, it's tough to say right now. I would say no, because I'm probably going to try to make it to where Wemby or Giannis is in every lineup, and that kind of handcuffs the Şengün thing. So I don't know. But yeah, obviously, man, the guy is capable of winning a GPP. The last time he played this team, he dropped 74 DK points. So he's got it in him for sure. And you just never know whose night it's going to be, if it's going to be Jalen or Şengün.
All right. Who's breaking the slate? We have crunch time coming in here in just a second. By the way, the poll's not closed just yet, but Eastern time zone is running away with it as of right now as far as the default time zone. Bobby, you go first. You set the standard. Tell me who is breaking the slate tonight.
I'm going to go Cade Cunningham.
By the way, Rollins unlikely to play. That's a bummer because I was going to be out on him. I was hoping people were going to chase that. So AJ Green, he's just a 3-point shooter. I don't know who it's going to be. Point Giannis. Giannis is just going to get a pile of assists if players can make shots in the back end.
So you're saying we should go hammer the assist props on Giannis right now?
If you can, if it's available. Who else is going to run the point for them? Look at that roster. Pat Connaughton, DeLon Wright, revenge game, I think. Did he play for Detroit?
50 teams too, right?
Vengeful guy. Yeah, okay. That's not official. It's he's unlikely to go, despite the fact he said last night, he said he was fine. Giannis officially in for what it's worth. Okay, Chop, what do you got? Who's breaking the slate? We got to bring in crunch time.
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of backed me into a corner on this one, so I'm going to have to say Franz Wagner, just so I can double dip on hitting that and showing you up.
Your guy Butto, by the way, is telling us it's I might get some Franz now because I have the salary for it for sure. Your guy Butto is telling us it's Andre Jackson's birthday in the chat. So there you go. Maybe he gets the birthday start. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. But I don't know who else. I think it's Point Giannis. I'm pretty sure it's Point Giannis. All right, maybe who's going to help us out, and we'll talk about the FanDuel stuff as well. They're going to go not game by game, but go position by position, give their favorite plays on FanDuel and on DraftKings. Of course, FanDuel includes those last 3 games: Memphis, Lakers, Minnesota, Portland. They're running it back as far as last night, and then there's Phoenix and Sacramento. We got Roth in the house, who's got to be super pumped. Let's bring in crunch time. Roth, I'm not sure if you've heard, but this is a Roth slate. It's a Roth slate. You can have 3 studs if you want, 3 studs, and still usable players around that. Are you registered? Are you playing tonight?
Yeah, I didn't know. I have family in town, so I've been out of the loop until basically just now. And I already put my studs in, and I was like, please, dear God, tell me their salary on this slate. And apparently we can get it done.
Yeah, I see Neil is nodding. Kirkwood's going to help you out as well, but there's a lot of time. You guys got 37 minutes. We should probably go ahead and yield and step aside and just kind of make way because there's a lot for you guys to get through. Do appreciate y'all listening. Myself, Chop, and Bobby, we appreciate y'all watching, and hit that like button. Do not go anywhere. You got 37 minutes of crunch time with two of the absolute best in the business. Roth holding it down. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. As always, welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. As Dino mentioned, two of the sharpest minds in the biz to my left and right. On my left, I think, that way, which is my right. It's weird. It's different than what you'd think. We got Kirkwood in the house. What up, Kirkwood?
Yo, doing all right. I feel like I'm running poorly to be on this slate on crunch time right now. We got a lot of work to do. There's just news going left and right, and we're still waiting on some. But this is NBA at its finest tonight.
And to be fair, I think this is when crunch time is at its best, when the news is breaking and we are just smarter. And by we, I mean y'all, than the average person. And you can make those adjustments and figure things out. That is when I've had my biggest nights, on nights just like tonight. Got Neil in the house as well. What up, Neil?
Not a whole lot. Looking forward to this one. We don't have the fun that we had last night of DeAndre Ayton being questionable and that being kind of like the one thing we had to look for. We've got so many moving parts on this one. It's a little bit of a tougher slate to break down. We should probably get some more news in about 6 minutes when we get the 5:30 Central Time represent injury report in 6 minutes. So looking forward to that. But should be a fun one.
Okay, well, if I am talking when that happens, just shut me up, talk over me, and tell me what is important about that. I mentioned I was building the slate. Şengün, again, I don't know how this guy's only 8K if he's fully capable of putting up 60 and 70 fantasy points. He's a lock. Wemby's a lock. There's just dudes that I need in, but I need to save money as well, and I'm hoping y'all can kind of walk me through that. Neil, you want to start us off with a little FanDuel talk? And if you don't mind, maybe some thoughts at point guard.
Yeah, point guard. I'm getting to a ton of Jared McCain currently. Just a bunch of players out for the Sixers becomes a great value. Available both shooting guard and point guard on FanDuel. Just 5,200 projects really well, point per dollar. Jalen Suggs in what should be a pace up spot for the Magic against the Pacers, getting to a lot there. 6,900. Awesome last night. Projecting really well once again. Scoot Henderson, the Blazers again missing several key pieces. That's kind of the story of the night. There are a lot of players missing. Scoot Henderson just 5,000 on FanDuel, getting a lot there. Jalen Noel should get a ton of minutes tonight, I would think. I don't think we have that starting lineup yet, but it looks like that's 7:30 Eastern game. But he's just 4,000, probably going to get the start and a lot of minutes. So I like some Jalen Noel. De'Aaron Fox, Chris Paul. Let's see, where am I getting to in terms of ownership? Tyrese Halliburton, SGA. Currently have Jalen Brunson in. Of course, we'll have to monitor that. That's going to obviously the slate could once again be flipped a little bit if Jalen Brunson ends up being out, and then nobody else over 10% for me.
If Brunson is out, is there a guard that you're plugging in there, or are you just like pivoting to some of their, like Cat and other guys like that?
I would want to get to some Miles McBride if he's active. He would become the priority if he's active and Jalen Brunson is out, but he is also a game time decision. So it's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess right now, but I would want to get to some Miles McBride if he's active.
Okay, very good. Pimpwood, which apparently is your new nickname, according to Chop. Pimpwood, that's you. What do you do? Because Kirkwood,
what the hell is Chop saying about me in chat? What's he going? What's he doing?
Because Kirkwood is a pimp. Now you're
something.
Pimpwood. Now you're Pimpwood. What are you doing at point guard, Pimpwood?
Oh boy. If I had a nickel for every time I heard that, I am doing. It's McCain. First off, the guy is just a chucker. He was chucking last night, and Sixers just have no one really. It seems like so. With Maxey and Embiid out, so shooting guard or point guard eligible. So he's the best value play. Suggs. Just like Neil said, we're going to just overlap probably on everything. Scoot Henderson, because you get the later Portland, Minnesota games, and Portland has nobody. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, always a top stud. Brunson's going to be popular if he does play. Now, another play, Delano Banton. This is a guy, he's a baller. And we found that out last season when people were out, and that's Simons is out and a bunch of other guys. So he should get a bunch of minutes. I've got him for, let's see here. I've got him for 20 minutes. If he goes north of that, he'll smash, and he's 4,500. So I like him. De'Aaron Fox, Halliburton, Cade Cunningham is probably my favorite. He's just in a great matchup with Milwaukee right now, the way that Milwaukee's playing, and so and with there's a bunch of guys in the Pistons out too. Jaden Ivey's out, so he's definitely a top play for me. And then yeah, that's about it right now. But we got news coming, so
okay. Love the Cade call. He's just another guy that is like perennially underpriced.
Yeah,
he should be 10K, and when he's not, I play him. Period. Okay, take me to shooting guard.
All right, we got McCain again. Yeah. Kelly Oubre is going to be popular, and his price is just really nice on FanDuel, so he's going to be chalk with everybody out. He's the first guy that you would think of to benefit from a usage standpoint with Embiid and Maxey. I mean, they need somebody who can get buckets. He can, but he's also going to have some good defenders locked in on him. They're playing a lot faster, which is in his favor, but they're also capable of shutting him down. So I could see fading that chalk, or trying to come in under there. I think that's fine. Jalen Suggs is a great play, as we said again. Shaden Sharp. It's a lot of the same names, but Malik Beasley. All right. He's with Detroit having a bunch of guys out. He's been playing, over 30 minutes. He's over 30 minutes in 2 of his last 3. He got 35 minutes in his last one, 33 against Atlanta the other night. He's a chucker. It's also a little revenge game against his former squad. And so with everyone out there, 4,800, he could go off. And then Kamara for Portland. Anthony Edwards is a stud that's probably not going to be too high owned, probably somewhere around 10%, 10 to 15% or somewhere. But he was really angry the other night. I saw a lot of stuff on Twitter about him, and they were embarrassed, and now they're running it back. And so get some Anthony Edwards tonight.
I like that. He does on like the vengeful scale. That dude seems very vengeful, and he seems like a guy who does not like being embarrassed. So
yeah. And he's the closest thing. He's probably the closest to Michael Jordan we have, wouldn't you say? Like,
and what would Jordan do in this spot? He'd come up and drop 50 on you for sure. Okay, Neil, what are your thoughts at shooting guard?
First of all, I think that's my favorite thing anybody's ever said on a show that I was on, that Anthony Edwards is the closest thing to Michael Jordan. 100% with you on that, for sure. At shooting guard, Ant is going to be one of my top 6 most owned players. Jared McCain. And another thing about the Philadelphia matchup is we do have Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen are both questionable right now. And if both are out, I mean, it's just going to be a much better spot for the Sixers if you have the Cleveland top bigs out. So that would be another bonus for Jared McCain and Kelly Oubre, who I'm getting to a lot of at shooting guard. Malik Beasley, I'm right there with you. Love some Malik Beasley tonight. They're missing so many, like almost all their players who could play minutes at shooting guard. So Beasley, I would think, should get a lot of minutes tonight, should be chucking it. Looking forward to that one. Jalen Suggs, Kamara, Shaden Sharp, Mikal Bridges, get into some Tyrese Halliburton, Julian Champagny. Currently not getting into a ton of, I guess Brandon Boston's at 6,600, so the price is a little bit higher here, getting to 9% there, and then nobody else in double digits.
Very good. I think you jumped to, there you go. They're related, obviously. Can't tell me they're not.
Love that.
Yeah. I just wanted to say something from chat. J3, valued member in chat, is coming in talking, getting hot about us. Why is nobody mentioning Goga Revenge? We haven't even gotten to center yet.
We're getting there.
Relax, buddy.
That Goga Revenge narrative is maybe coming. We will see. We will find out soon. Kirkwood, take me through, I don't know, small forward and then maybe power forward.
Yeah. Franz Wagner, the guy's a beast. He's completely stepped up his role and his scoring as we should have expected coming into this season. We're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row with north of 30% usage, all the way up to 38% usage the other night against Charlotte. The guy is a beast. People you see 8,300, you probably don't want to pay that just because you're conditioned from last year. He's kind of like the mid-tier guy, but he's not that. He's the man now. So
I don't want to say it, but I have to say it. When Paolo went down, I said on this show that he's just going to be the effing dude and he's going to do everything for that team. And where are we? Where are we now?
I mean, Roth knew. That's all you got to say is Roth knew. Roth knew.
People didn't want to play him. They didn't want to play him
because they're conditioned to he's a mid-tier guy. He's a mid-tier guy. Yeah. He gets buckets is what he does. Jalen Williams, awesome play against the Pelicans, stepping up like crazy. We're talking really solid usage, really solid minutes, and a great matchup with the Pelicans. Shaedon Sharpe, I'll keep mentioning for Portland. He's probably gonna see the most action tonight. And he's gonna take all the usage. He's got all the talent in the world. He's a little rough sometimes, but tough, little bit of a tough matchup, Minnesota. But I love him, and I like that game. Like I said, I think that Anthony Edwards is going to be a staple for me. DeMar DeRozan's been playing well. Sacramento coming off of a horrible loss where they just looked awful. And they were, they had been playing a bunch of games in a row on back-to-back. I think they were 5-7 or something like close to that. And so I like him. Who else? Malik Beasley again. He's small forward eligible. Jeremy Grant. He's kind of that steady Eddie mid-tier guy with Portland. Everybody out. I don't expect him to go absolutely berserk, but I think he's a solid floor play. And then got to mention LeBron, right? Guys,
sure. Someone in the chat said LeBron's going to break the slate. So
I could see it.
Got to get a little. Take me to power forward, Kirkwood.
All right. Power forward.
Yep.
Bronze again. Jalen Williams again. AD. Giannis. Now Giannis had a horrendous game yesterday from a DFS standpoint, and I don't know. It's a back-to-back, which is a little bit worrisome again. So you you can. I think he's a great player. You're going to get him a ton in optimizers, but I think you can make the case for playing Wemby at lower ownership over him. Also, we've got the Dancing Bear, Ubaselli, for Philly. This guy was a former Celtic. That's why I know him. That's his nickname from the Celtics, the Dancing Bear. And he's just a good fantasy point per minute producer, and he was really solid in the Olympics. And he's just got a pathway to a bunch of minutes, and he's never had that really. He had 30, in his game against Charlotte, he got 31 minutes. But I expect that again tonight, 30 plus for him. So I think he's really solid play. Wemby, LeBron, Sabonis, and Brandon Ingram.
You know that he is the Dancing Bear. Do you happen to know why he is the Dancing Bear? Is there something behind that? Because I'm intrigued.
I can't remember, but
okay,
I'm gonna Google it for. I should know it because I'm a Celtics fan. Okay. But it's just always been that.
Just seems one of those nicknames that there's, you don't just pull that one out of the hat. There's a reason for that, and I'd like to know that reason. I'll let you do a little research.
Just says it was a moniker given to him by then Celtics assistant coach Mika Shrewsbury. Embraced it, and the fans are on board with the name. Yeah, see, it's so we don't even know why he was given it, but just that
there is a famous psychology experiment that is called the Dancing Bear, where people are passing a ball back and forth and you're supposed to count it. And so you're watching the ball, and in the meantime, there's a bear dancing, but your eyes don't even recognize it because it may have something to do with that. I don't know. If you know about the Dancing Bear, let me know in chat. And if not, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Neil, what are we doing at power forward?
I love that story about the Dancing Bear. That's really cool. I booped bumped Jeremy Grant's projection because I like that call out. Like he could sneakily get a little bit of extra usage, should get some more rebounds with all the bigs out there in Portland. There's always the risk of Klingon also just fouling out. I mean, based on last night, cannot keep his hands to himself. And maybe Jeremy Grant plays a little bit bigger and he's kind of cheap. So I do kind of like that call out at power forward. I'm getting to a lot now. Wemby is one of my favorite plays on the slate, coming in at low ownership. Giannis is not coming in at that crazy high ownership. That's the one I was kind of hoping Giannis was going to come in at like 50% and we'd see a big disparity there. Because obviously I want to play Giannis too, and it's tough to play both of them together. But I have a good amount of both Wemby and Giannis right now. Both look fantastic. Franz Wagner, great call out there. Caleb Martin, getting to some Anthony Davis, LeBron, DeMar DeRozan, Jalen Williams, Yabusele, Naz Reid, and Rui, and nobody else over 10%.
Okay. And Neil, I would like to note, J-Man says, you aren't crazy, Roth. We did that lesson with our students today. The dancing bear is a real thing. Okay. Take me to center, Neil. What are we doing over there?
First of all, I want to address Alan's comment. He says Neil doesn't care about dancing bears. I really did love that, sir. I think that's really fascinating. I knew we need to move quickly, so I couldn't really spend a lot of time on it. But
fair enough.
That was genuine.
What are we doing at center?
Wemby, Anthony Davis. I am getting to a good amount of Donovan Klingon, hoping he can keep his hands to himself tonight. Brook Lopez, Naz Reid, and Rudy Gobert both look awesome again with all of the bigs outside of Klingon for the Blazers. And Klingon doesn't really look like he's going to be able to stop anybody, kind of slow-footed. And then I guess that's all that I have, 10% or more.
Is Donovan Klingon related to the greatest slam dunk guy, Jordan Klingon, who's the best dunker in the world? Do we know?
Oh, interesting. Maybe. I doubt it.
Right, maybe. They are. Just Google.
Are they really?
Yeah.
There you go.
No, they're not.
Are you making shit up, Kirkwood?
Brothers.
Are they really?
I have no idea.
I think it's like
Jordan Klingon, and I see a female volleyball player is the first thing I got.
There's a guy like the best who wins all the dunk contests is not in the NBA, but his last name is Klingon. All right.
Oh, we're getting some news. TJ's giving it in.
All right, let's lock in. What's the news? What do we got?
Jarrett Allen is in. We don't have news on Evan Mobley yet.
Okay.
Should be coming.
Does that do anything? Does it change anything?
I mean, it makes the defense tougher. So like playing Sixers guys is going to be really appealing to me if we had the bigs both out for Cleveland. But I mean, I'm getting to a lot of them even with the assumption that the bigs are in. So, it would have been just a little bit of a cookie there. And obviously maybe like, I don't know who would come in, Tristan Thompson or somebody. There would be some players would come into play maybe for Cleveland. But we might not have to worry about it.
Roth spreading fake news. I'm seeing in chat.
Yeah, I think I am. His name is Kilgannon, and it's with a K, not a C. I wasn't very close. I really thought it was the same last name. I take all that back. Everything that I said, except the dancing bear, I revoke, and I will revoke my own speaking privileges.
Well, the great thing about the dancing bear is he's got like the Grateful Dead dancing bear. Like everyone loved him here in Boston. So there's like shirts. Everyone has shirts and everything still.
He seems lovable. Like I like him. Okay, take me to center, Kirkwood. What are we doing there?
Yep. It's Wemby's my favorite. Anthony Davis, Brook Lopez. Sorry about the scream in the background.
You're good.
Brolo, he picked up a lot of the slack. He played 37 minutes, so it's a little scary coming on a back-to-back. Brolo, 37 minutes, and a guy who's probably going to want to shoot the three a lot. He's going to chuck him. They're going to give him to him. Durant doesn't leave to follow him out to the three-point line, so Lopez will have his chance. It's just I worry about efficiency. I do like Nicholas Claxton with a lot of the players on Brooklyn being out against the Celtics, even though I think the Celtics should show up for this game after an embarrassing loss last night. We're back to passive Tatum again, which is you should have seen my text threads going on. All the local Boston guys just sticking him, just sticking it to him. Just he's back. He fooled us, all that. But anyway, Sabonis, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid is an interesting play. Again, he just went off in the last time on the bench. He may get more minutes in this. He played well. He didn't play well defensively. He did play well offensively though. Karl Anthony Towns is an awesome play with an awesome matchup against the Bulls.
Okay. Do you get a question about DeLon Wright? I don't think we brought him up. For what it's worth, I personally loathe him. He is my most hated basketball player. Can we play him? I think he was on the Mavs for a little bit, and I watched him play, and I was like, I don't think that guy's much better than I am. I just don't think he's very good at basketball.
All right. Fair.
He's good at defense, but that's maybe it. Is he playable is the question for us, Neil.
Yeah, like borderline playable. Yeah, he's on the Bucks, so like they're missing so many pieces. Maybe he gets a few extra minutes. He's only projecting for like low 20s in minutes. So not like a priority for me, but if you're like running a 150 set, I'd probably want to have a few shares just in case things go differently than what we're projected and he ends up getting 28 minutes. So yeah, I'd say playable, but not a priority.
Okay, very good. Let's dive into this DK side of things. Neil, I don't know how much different it is, but you're starting your build over there with point guard. What do you got?
At point guard, let me sort. Again, Jared McCain. So I guess, shoot. Sorry. I just realized that I'm on FanDuel again, so I don't have this ready. Can you go to Kirkwood first?
Sure. Kirkwood, you want to walk me through point guard on DK?
Sure. Okay, so I'll just pick up. He said Jared McCain, and he's going to be the highest owned the point guard on DraftKings. So wrong site, but you're still right. Correct with the play.
Nice.
I think DeLon Wright is actually in play because he's probably going to get in more projection runs now with Ryan Rollins being out, just another body for Milwaukee, and he did get 24 minutes last night. So whoever said that in chat, I like that thought. Jalen Noel for the Pelicans, with Alvarado now down, should get decent minutes for just absolutely 3,400 small price tag. Brunson and Cunningham are the studs. I lean Cunningham for sure, but you could make a case for either of them if Brunson is in. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, obviously, for a top stud. Halliburton, there's a lot of studs here. Ingram, Mitchell. And then a real cheapie to consider is Marcus Sasser. I'm sure you know him, Roth.
That's my boy.
Yeah. And he's a gunner with some talent. Just a bunch of, there's just a lot of minutes that have opened up for him potentially now. I've got him for 20 minutes. Which is enough for 3K for him. He's close to a fantasy point per minute player, but he's a kid. He's a guy who gets buckets too. So, that's where I'm going.
Okay, very good. Neil, you want to walk through? There's a lot of options here at point. What are some of your favorites?
Yeah. So currently the player I'm getting to the most is Jared McCain on DraftKings. Also cheaper on DraftKings, just 4,500. Also getting to a lot of Jalen Noel. Obviously, the OKC matchup is tough, but also gets a lot easier without Chet Holmgren. I still think it's a pretty strong defense, but helps a lot to not have Chet Holmgren there for OKC. So Jalen Noel looks good. Currently getting to a lot of Jalen Brunson. We have not gotten the news of whether he's actually going to play. Getting to some Tyrese Halliburton, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Suggs, Hassan Wallace, SGA. Getting to a little bit of Marcus Sasser and nobody else really in any kind of real number.
Okay. Some people pointing out how important effort is to success, and TJ noting value is also the key, at least to DFS success. And that is why you got to be signing up for RotoGrinders Premium, because if you are looking for value, we have got you covered. Good job, TJ. Thanks with the pivot there. Busiest time in the sports calendar. It means it's the perfect time to sign up for RotoGrinders Combo. For a limited time, get your first month of combo access for $79.99. That's just $5 more than NBA Premium. You talk value, we've got it for you. Sign up. Do not pass up on that phenomenal value at work. Kirkwood, I think we're at shooting guard with you.
Shooting guard, yep. Brandon Boston Jr. again. He's just, with minutes, this guy, he's getting a lot of minutes. So he's played 38, 35 in his last three. They just have a bunch of bodies out. He's going to get the minutes again. And he's been producing. So he's going to be chalky if you want to fade him. I get it. But definitely a solid play. But now that he's like 6K, there's other like Pelicans you could get to. So let me just see. Like Trey Murphy comes to mind as a pivot off of him. at lower ownership, extremely lower ownership. So that's something to continue, like, if you want to play that game a little bit differently. But let's see who else we got. We've got Mikal Bridges. Good matchup. Great matchup for him against Chicago. Could be even better. I mean, first it's Tibbs minutes number one. So like it's a great matchup against Chicago, and you got guys you're going to play close to 40 minutes if this game is like even somewhat competitive.
Yeah.
And he's a guy who can. This Chicago plays sloppy, plays fast. He's a guy who could excel in this matchup, and will get a big boost if Brunson is out. Benedict Mathurin has been insane. I've always said this guy gets buckets. This guy is a baller. And he played 42 minutes the other night against the Knicks. Now a matchup with Orlando, which isn't the best, but Orlando's not the worst matchup like they used to be. So I like him. I like Zach LaVine. I like Cam Thomas. And then a little homer in me, I'm going to say get a little Jaylen Brown.
Okay. Did you get a question from Mike B? You mentioned Mathurin and your just general like of him. The question was Boston versus Mathurin versus OG. Kirkwood, you got a preference there?
The ownership is going to be highest on Boston. So I'd say to go to Mathurin, or OG is going to be probably the lowest of them.
Very good. Neil, take me to your thoughts there at shooting guard. I don't think I got those yet.
At shooting guard, so a lot of the same. So it's Jared McCain, Jalen Noel. I do love Malik Beasley. Again, I loved him on FanDuel. Gonna love him on DraftKings. Also, getting to a good amount of Boston, Bridges, Mathurin, Zach LaVine, Zaire Williams. I'm getting to over 10% currently. Lou Dort, and that's it as far as players that I'm getting 10% or more.
Okay, then small forward it is. Neil, what do you like there?
Yeah, so again, and it's a lot flatter for me at small forward than other positions. Boston, number one, Franz Wagner, Mikal Bridges, Ronald Holland, the second for the Pistons, only eligible at small forward, but he's min-priced, looks pretty good, like pretty good solid value play. OG, Josh Hart, both look great. Would obviously look even better without Jalen Brunson, which again, I don't think we have that news yet. Still not there. Mathurin, Aaron Wiggins, LaVine, getting to some Tatum. I currently don't really have much Jaylen Brown, but that's an interesting call. I should probably force in a little bit of Jaylen Brown, and actually Brandon Ingram without Holmgren there. Maybe I should just bet on Brandon Ingram in, not the best matchup in the world, but he can always go off, and they're missing several pieces. So I'm currently not getting much, but I actually think now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to force in some Brandon Ingram and just hope that he is able to carry the Pelicans tonight and get it done. I think there's concern that they might not just be able to score it all, but if they can, it's going to be a lot of Brandon Ingram leading the way. So I think I'm going to force in a little bit there.
Sure. Okay. Makes sense. Kirkwood, your thoughts on small forward?
All right. I'm getting close to doing a big band hammer on J3. Aaron Wiggins is going to be chalky. It's kind of gross for that much ownership against the Pelicans, but he's like a solid floor play, and he's cheap if you need it. So for cash game, sure. I would try to not fade him in tournaments. Franz Wagner, love him. Favorite Josh Hart, love him. OG Anunoby, love him. Mathurin, love him. Bridges, love him. And love him if Hart is out for sure. Still think it's a good matchup for him. And then Tatum, Ingram, Cam Thomas on the high end. And I gotta mention Tari Eason.
Yeah, I'm playing him. I don't know. He's that guy that I landed
he needs
there.
more minutes. He just needs more minutes, and I think he's earned them. Give the guy more minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm playing him, and that's the one spot where I'm like, ugh, but there's not a whole lot.
I think you're fine. I think you're fine.
Yeah, but I think it was him or Champagny in that range, and I was.
Oh yeah, you got it. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay, take me to power forward, Kirkwood.
All right. The Dancing Bear, Ubaselli. DM Roth, and he'll tell you the story on how he got
the whole thing. I'll show you. I'll send you the video. Yeah, you won't even see the dancing bear.
Giannis is going to be popular. I think Giannis ownership is going to start flying because he's just he's in both sites. I think because optimizers are loving him. Josh Hart again, Franz Wagner again, OG Anunoby, Evan Mobley if he plays. If this game stays remotely competitive somehow, and you see that it happens in NBA. You think this team like Philly has nobody and they'll never hang with them, and against a really solid Cleveland team, but it's the NBA. These guys are all professional ballers. They can hang close. If that's the case, Mobley should absolutely go nuts, and he's only 7,800. So I like him. I like Tatum, and then I got him at a little bit of Kyle Kuzma for the fans.
Ooh, a little Kuz. I like that.
He's been so bad, except for one game. He's been so bad, but
yeah,
hang in there with the guy and let the ownership keep coming down on him.
I love that call. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Neil, your thoughts at power forward?
Yep, getting to a lot of the Dancing Bear, Giannis, Franz Wagner, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Aaron Wiggins. I'm forcing in a little bit of Pascal Siakam. The price tag seems just a little bit too low there, even in a tough matchup. A little bit of Tatum, and I'm going to do another run, try to get a little bit more of Trey Murphy and Tari Eason, but currently sub 10% there.
Okay, very good. That brings us to center. Your favorite plays on DK, Neil?
Again, it's Giannis, Yabusele. Cat looks great on DraftKings, only 8,700 against the Bulls, who played a really fast pace. Wemby, again, forcing my way to a good amount of Wemby. Siakam, Miles Turner looks pretty great here. Nick Claxton, Goga. I'm also, depending on the status of Mobley, with Jarrett Allen playing, if Mobley is out, then Jarrett Allen will look a lot better. So if we get news that Mobley is out, I'll probably force in some Jarrett Allen. And I guess with being on a show with Roth, I kind of feel like I need to force in at least a little bit of Alperen Şengün.
Yeah, I just don't understand his price. If he plays full run, if he gets 30 plus minutes, because it's not a blowout and he's going to crush. He's going to score 50 plus fantasy points. All he needs is the minutes, and all we need is the game to stay close. And then he gets it. Just, I don't know. I'm playing that dude till he's 10K every freaking night, and I will be right more than I'm wrong while I'm doing it. Let's see, Kirkwood, your thoughts at center?
Yeah. Did you mention Claxton at all? I was arguing or
I mentioned that I got to some, but didn't give any kind of reasoning on it.
Yeah. I like him. 30 plus minutes last two. Ben Simmons out. Also Dorian Finney-Smith out. And the Celtics are going to play Kata a lot. I bet, because he's a high energy guy and just seems like he should play in this matchup. So I think Claxton has big minutes upside, and he's only 6K. And love the Şengün call, love Wemby, love the Miles Turner call, love Cat, Dancing Bear, obviously. He's like a lock to me. And then Giannis.
Okay. Very good, guys. We've gone position by position, both sites. It's time to answer a few questions. We've got about 4 minutes until lock. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit us with a thumbs up. It's free content. And outside of me saying stupid shit, these guys give a lot of good content. So hit the thumbs up for them. Smash that like button. Let's see what we got in the Discord, where the cool kids are hanging out. Then I'll jump to YouTube. Your FanDuel GPP large field, Kirkwood, your favorite stud or studs?
FanDuel large field, favorite studs. Wemby, my favorite. LeBron. LeBron has just turned it up. And then and I like Karl Anthony Towns a lot.
Very good. DKGPP, Neil, you want Cat and Franz? Oh, I'm sorry, it's a 3v3. Cat, Franz, and OG, or Giannis, Şengün, Noel?
The second one.
Same, bro.
Also, Bobby Portis. We just got news Bobby Portis is out, and I don't even think he was questionable. So that's worth noting. Probably helps Giannis. Going to get all the rebounds and all the assists tonight.
Okay. Good note. Anybody cheap?
Now, I wanted to fade Giannis the whole night. Now it's like
it's getting tougher.
Yeah. Is there anyone cheap that's filling a role there with Portis out that we're interested in, or not really?
I have not looked at it closely yet. So let me. Man, that's going to be tough. They're missing so many players. It's kind of a mess. Let's see.
I mean, it sounds like an opportunity is what it sounds.
It does. It does sound like an opportunity.
I mean, it figures you got to figure Brook Lopez is locked into like just massive minutes.
Yeah. True. I guess I suppose it does hurt Brook Lopez.
Well, who else do they have to play center. They got some guy named Liam Robbins. I've never heard of. I don't know. I don't even know if he's up around that.
Yeah, I mean,
okay. So bump to Giannis and Brolo, essentially. Yeah. Dean saying all Knicks players are in. I think we were waiting on McBride and Brunson. Yeah. Okay, good note. Thank you, Dean. We have 2 minutes until lock. We'll take a few more questions here. DKGPP, Neil, Cam Thomas, or Levine?
Cam Thomas or Levine on DK. Okay, hang on 1 second. Is Levine in for sure?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's probable maybe, but let me double check that.
Yeah, it would be Levine for me.
Okay, very good. In the meantime, Pimpwood, DK Cash playing Turner or wait for news? You got to figure it out soon, I think.
Yeah, wait for news.
Okay. Mike says FanDuel GPP, I'm looking for a scrub center. Do I play Klingon or Quetta or someone else, Kirkwood? FanDuel GPP, Klingon, Quetta, or someone else at center?
Like Quetta.
Yeah, okay, very good. Okay. Large field DK tournament. Neil, I'm playing Halliburton and 2 of Roth's favorite stud players. Am I wasting salary using the Halliburton? He burned me the other night. I guess he's playing Wemby and Şengün. Would be my guess.
Probably. I wouldn't say it's weight. I mean, it's only 8,400. We're talking FanDuel.
Yes.
He's only 8,400. He doesn't project extremely well point per dollar, but he's also going to be really low owned, and I still think he has upside. So I think it's like his floor is not safe at all, but his ceiling is still there. So in a large field GPP, I wouldn't call it a waste.
Okay. And Blink 182 knows me well. He is indeed my 2 favorite players, Wemby and Şengün. So well done, sir. Let's see. We're moments until lock. OG or Lopez, DK Cash. Neil, you got an immediate thought there? OG or Lopez?
Probably Brolo.
Ooh, I love it. Okay. Let's see. Is Tatum ballin'? Kirkwood, that's a you question. Tatum ballin'? ? That's all he said.
If he doesn't, I'm gonna have to swear him off again this season. Like, I'm already upset at him. Like, because he tricked me. I think he is gonna ball. I mean, he has to. He was so passive last night and they lost. Like, he's the man. It's time to lead and do your thing. So
you're mad because at the start of the season, everyone's like, Tatum's taking the leap.
He looked like a different player. We're like, this is the Tatum we've always wanted to see. They pissed him off enough. Like, this is what we needed.
Yeah.
Like,
so I didn't realize something happened since then. He's just gone back to being like passive turtle.
He did nothing. He didn't score. He scored like his first bucket at the end of the fourth quarter, which is like normal last season Tatum.
Yeah.
Right. Like, he did that a lot. Like, and you would want, like, he's the only stud that I know in the NBA who takes the first quarter off. It's like,
Yeah. All right. Interesting. I agree, though. I think he's trying to flip the switch. He had a little lapse, and now he's coming back tonight with it on.
Else he's dead to me. He's dead to me.
Yeah. He's dead to the whole city, and he knows it.
I had the same thought as Dean, which is they won the championship last year. Like, how mad can you be as a Celtics fan at how Tatum has played? It's
a tricky situation. It's much deeper than that. They should have won, and they did win, and I kudos to them for doing that. He gave people like Roth the hope, where Roth was coming on being like, Mavs in 5, it's going down,
I think I said in 6, but maybe I said in 5.
They almost lost to the Pacers. Tatum doesn't have the kill in him.
Yeah. It's true.
But
it's true.
It's a tricky situation.
But, man, he pulled it out. Let's see. I didn't know this. We're going to end it on this. Zella says, Sarr dissed the hell out of Wemby.
Ooh.
I love him tonight. I didn't know that there was beef between Sarr and Wemby, but had I known that, I already got a decent amount of Wemby, so I'm good. But that's good to know. I'm going to do a little research on that. We got to bounce it out of here. I mentioned I have family in town. We're going out to dinner. So for Kirkwood, for Neil, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.